This is the plaintiff, Fred Scandale. He says he hired the defendant to do some work on his house, and the guy not only ruined his kitchen floor, his paint job was just plain awful. He also brought his dang dog on the job and let him have free roam of the house. Who does that? When he pointed out the mistakes, all he had to say was, he can't help that. He wants his money back, so we sue him for the $853.13 he's owed. This is the defendant, Carl Zimmerman. He says he did a good job for the plaintiff, and the guy's one of those people that just can't be pleased. He's a smooth talker who's never had a real job, doesn't pay his bills, and if anyone's owed money today, it's him. He's accused of being a crummy craftsman. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $1,700, the amount he's owed for the job.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says the handyman who did work in his house was a disaster, ruined the floors, even let his dog roam freely in the house. But the defendant says the plaintiff is a deadbeat. It's the case of doggone or else.
Thank you, Douglas. Fred Scandale?
Yes.
You are suing Carl's Remodeling and Carl Zimmerman personally for $853.13 of damages that you say he owes you to correct a bad paint job and things you say he damaged while he was there. You have a counterclaim against him for $1,700 because you didn't get paid a penny for the paint job that you did there, correct?
Correct.
All right, let me hear from you first. What happened?
Okay. Good afternoon, Your Honor, and thank you for your time. I hired Mr. Zimmerman through a barter company.
A barter company. Explain what that is.
Various companies belong to a barter company, and you buy and sell in barter instead of cash.
All right, and so the idea is that you get to use your talent as payment for things. So you would be able to buy, say, a roof with the monopoly money that you get from having completed somebody's taxes or whatever it is. Okay, so go ahead.
So I hired Mr. Zimmerman through the barter company to paint the first floor of my home and the hallway going up the stairs.
And the agreement was that you would pay him in barter dollars what?
$1,700.
$1,700 barter dollars. Okay.
Yes. Not only did he do a horrible job in painting my walls, but he got the brown wall paint all over my white popcorn ceilings. And somehow he ruined my kitchen floor.
How?
Your Honor, I have no idea if he dropped something. I have pictures I can present.
Let me see the pictures.
There were 2 puncture marks on the floor, and there was scrape marks. These are what I call the 2 holes. And this is a different area of a scrape mark.
Thank you, sir.
In one of the holes, I was able to put my thumb somewhat through, and another, my index finger.
Okay, go on.
Even though Mr. Zimmerman assured me he was going to come back the very next day at 10 a.m. to take care of all the problems, he never showed up, and he walked off.
Why didn't he? Do you know? Huh?
He didn't want to do the job anymore.
Why, though?
He thought he did it correctly.
Had you filed a complaint against him?
I filed the complaint when I saw the damage to my floor to tell them.
And then you expected him to show up the next day after you just filed a complaint against him, right?
Yes.
In retrospect, shouldn't you have had the guy finish whatever he was going to do to correct things and then filed the complaint? Wouldn't that have made a lot more sense?
Yes, yes.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor.
All right. So what ends up happening as a result of the complaint?
I presented the pictures to the barter company. I told them my side of it. Because of the pictures and him walking off the job, he was not paid.
A penny.
A penny. I then had to hire another painter to come in and completely redo the job.
How much did it cost you to correct his bad paint job, according to you?
Because
you're suing for $853.13. Part of it a new floor, part of it the cost of additional paint, and $300 to repair the paint job.
The painter charged me $1,300 of which was to fix the bad paint job.
Hand me the receipt from the painter. I'm not understanding you.
Here's all the top page is from the painter.
If it cost you $1,000 to fix it, that's your damages, $1,000 to fix it. Why would you sue for $300? Because why would you have to eat the guy coming to paint? Your theory is because you didn't pay him, you felt like you should pay something?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And I think what you're trying to say is, I paid the guy $1,000. And since the guy told me it's a $700 job, I am only suing for the excess because I think I should pay something for the job.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, but the something was $1,700, not the $1,000. Here's what in effect you've done. You have a lawsuit. You had a $1,700 job that you're supposed to pay him. I mean, I'm looking at that. That's crappy. You shouldn't have walked off that day leaving it like that. What is the reason that you would have dripping paint like that? Who's putting the paint on and with what? Come on, man. I paint better than this. Show this to him, please. Why is there drip marks?
Occasionally you get a drip mark.
Yeah,
and
but fix it.
That's why we go back and fix it. What happened was we leave this to the third day,
right,
and we go and touch it up. So that's really not a big deal,
right?
Let me just. And I painted in
had
plazas,
you told
malls.
him we're done? Is that what set him off when he saw the condition of it?
I never said we were done. Ever.
Okay.
I walked off the job.
Why did you walk off the job?
Because we were threatened and belittled, and he was falsely accusing us of doing the floor. I called the Barter company, talked to my broker, and I said, we really need to get, I can't satisfy Mr. Scandale, and we really need to get someone down there. It was a bad situation.
He was accusing you of having ripped the floor? He was accusing you of having dropped something on the floor?
Okay, the floor situation. We were in the building within a half hour. He said, Jesus, can you do a couple extras for me for the price? So I go, sure. He pulled out the stove and said, look, the floors are curling up. Is there any way you can fasten the floor to the ground? The whole first day goes. We paint we're painting, putting plastic down, taping, and everything else. We go into the second day, and he calls me up in the afternoon. Now we're really pushing, to get this done. And he says, you scratched my floor. And I said, where? I don't see it. So my assistant, I said, do you see any scratches? He says, oh yeah, look. It looked like it was done by a sheetrock knife. So I said, how could that have happened? I'm thinking that to myself. I'm not saying this to Fred, because I got a million things going on in my mind. He says, well, Carl, there's spots on my ceiling. I'm not really happy. I want the line straight, this and that. And I said, I'll take care of everything. You'll be happy when I'm done. Give us a chance. All right. So we continued. That night, when I went home, Chris Donis is a witness. I said, oh, there's a message. We listened to the message, and it's Fred.
Do you have the message?
No. She's a witness to the message.
What did he say?
Basically, he was very demeaning, intimidating.
No, I don't want your conclusions. I want to know what he said.
Okay. He said, you damaged the floor in my house. I'm not happy with the paint job. I expect you to do everything all over again. You will do what I tell you to do when I tell you to do it. Do you understand me? Otherwise, I promise you won't get a dime, quote unquote. Then he continued saying, you don't know who I am.
Meaning?
I can make your life rough, or something along that line.
What did you think he meant by that?
Well, he's a bill collector. I guess he could make life pretty rough. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of my friends, okay, who have faced difficult customers, and now they work in Home Depots and Lowe's. It's tough to be out there.
I know.
Okay.
Are you the only person who was there painting? You
No.
and your assistant?
Mr. Regan.
Come on up. Did you drop anything on that floor? So, no, actually, I was talking to you still. Did you drop anything on that floor?
Absolutely not.
Did you drop anything on that floor? When he brings to your attention that there's something on the floor that was ruined, what did you inspect it?
Yes,
You're the one who pointed out.
I was the one that could see it. Carl
Okay.
couldn't see it because he couldn't get
How
down
big
to
are
his
these
knees.
tiles? Or how many inches? I'm talking about
not
this.
sure. I don't remember the size, ma'am. If
Okay.
I looked at the picture, I could probably tell
Yeah,
you.
because I'm trying to figure out how big the actual
The
thing is.
slits, when I saw them, were no more than a half inch to an inch, and they were clean cuts when we saw
Besides
them.
painting, what else were you doing?
this
Is this
is
a house or an
close.
apartment?
It's a condo.
No, this
It's
is
a
it, but
condo.
it's so
And
close
besides
up that I
painting,
couldn't
what
get
else
the
were you
size.
doing to it?
Nothing, Your Honor.
You didn't do any construction work?
No, the condo was only 3 years old, Your Honor, but there was no damage to the floor whatsoever.
What did you want to say?
He also said to us that he was going after the contractor that put down the linoleum.
Yeah.
And
Did
he
you
said
tell-
that
did you
to
tell
us
them that?
because
No, Your Honor. No, absolutely not. I didn't tell him I was going after the contractor that put the linoleum down.
What were you showing him the linoleum for?
No, Your Honor, you can't see the linoleum.
Why were you moving the stove in order to show him how it was curling up?
I wasn't removing the stove. He was there. I told him when you move the stove, it's curling up a little bit.
But you just mentioned it as an aside.
Because I was afraid he was going to pull it and not know why.
Why is he pulling a stove?
He had to paint behind the wall.
Were you painting the kitchen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Are bill collectors typically threatening by design?
Extremely.
Why so? They just want to scare you into payment?
Absolutely.
Is that justified?
No, not at all. And they scare old people, and it's not fair. And they're just really nasty. Yeah.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
You, of course, have a counterclaim against him for the $1,700 that you feel that you should be paid. All right. You end up disputing it with the Barter company, and the Barter company ends up ruling in your favor.
I have a letter from
I saw that. And you take exception to that because you lost, or because they didn't hear your side, or because what?
Because, Your Honor, I called the legal department at Barter, and I asked them about this. I asked the bookkeeper, did you consult a painter or anybody else? So they said no. If a Barter slip is not signed, according to the legal department of the Barter company, you don't get paid. Furthermore,
Was your slip signed?
No. I couldn't get it slimed. I walked off the job because I was threatened.
Let me hear from the wife a second. I'm sorry.
Ma'am.
Come on up.
That was gonna
Were
work.
those holes there before
No, they were not.
he got there? Let me see the receipt for the floor.
It's in the expenses, Your Honor. And Your Honor, I tried to mitigate my damages. I purchased the cheapest floor that they sold.
I have a question for you. Do you have any evidence, any email traffic, anything like that, that would show that you were willing to go back there?
Yes, the contract.
meant-
We were going to be there 3 days, as Mr. Scandell said. 2 days we worked. Third day was the touch-up that he was supposed to put together, that he claimed, when he left the message, said the whole thing had to be redone.
All right, we're done. Here's what I think. I believe them on the floor. People know whether their floor was damaged beforehand or not. I would really have to find them to be so conniving that they pinned that on you, even though they both know it was already there. And I just don't see that. Does that mean you got to buy him a new floor? No, it doesn't. It means that part of that is something that he needs to absorb, either a repair cost or a portion of your new floor, because otherwise you got a nice new floor that's not curling up, and bonanza for you, and that's not what court is about. So I'm going to order that you pay for half of the cost of the vinyl flooring. That's $237.79. I know that he paid a painter, according to the painter's affidavit, $1,000 to fix the things that needed fixing. In court, what I have to do is order the reasonable costs of repair. I am a contractor's daughter. I am a contractor's sister. I have painted a bajillion places, okay? So it's not a $1,000 job. I'm going to very generously call that a $500 job. That means $737.79 is your damages. Now, your damages are $1,700 because you didn't get paid at all for the job. So I take the $1,700 and I subtract your damages and I order a net judgment in your favor in the amount of $962.21, which is the $1,700 minus what I find to be your appropriate damages. Got it? Good luck, folks.
Thank you, Judge.
Well, that was an interesting explanation, an interesting ruling. What is your reaction to it?
I'm shocked.
You're shocked.
I treated him with respect and dignity. I didn't have a bad conversation over the phone. He made all that up.
About you threatening him?
Yes, absolutely. I gave him an opportunity to come in. He refused to come back, and I called him, and then he agreed to come back, and he didn't show up.
Well, what could a bill collector do? I mean, what could you threaten him? What do you do to collect the bill? If someone's not paying, get the brass knuckles out? Or what?
First of all, we have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. We're very professional.
You don't twist any arms?
No, sir. No, sir.
All right, right around the corner this way. And the house is painted. It's finished. He got his paint job. Step on in here. And you wound up getting paid for the work you did. You satisfied?
We're satisfied. And thank goodness we've only been to court once. I don't think I could take this. I mean,
Well, like the judge said, maybe you should have sucked it up as a pro and finished the job.
absolutely not. And,
What do you imagine his threat consisted of? What did you think he could do?
well, they called Consumer Protection and wrote a big long letter. And our Consumer Protection, I have an absolute clean record, but people call Consumer Protection to see if you have any problems.
It's a bad mark on his name.
And what happened was he called Consumer
Oh, yeah.
Protection and they wouldn't allow the complaint.
Over to Harvey.
You know, damages are always measured by what it takes to put the non-breaching party back in the position that they were supposed to be.